All right, who loves collaborations? I know I love collaborations. A lot of these podcasts on the Messy Success podcast are collaborations and ways that I really get to engage and get to know other business owners. And I have another little treasure for you today. My friend Meg, who is a Kajabi expert, but also the founder of Collaboration Station, which is an online platform designed to help digital creators find business collaboration opportunities. She's also an Aussie and a mom of three. So we have a lot in common. This is a super fun episode. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know Meg. She's incredibly smart. She is so passionate about this online space that she has created for entrepreneurs to collaborate. And I was immediately wowed when I got to see the inside of it and learn more. So you guys are in for a treat. Let's go ahead and bring in Meg. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson, and I help high-performing artists and creative leaders grow and scale communities so that marketing is easy. This podcast combines business tips and real-life experiences in being the creative entrepreneur that we all are. So you're in the right place if you want to leave feeling a little bit more confident and normalize these day-to-day struggles that we all experience as business owners. And you can do this while mastering your marketing so that business is light and easy. I'm so glad you're joining me here where we can get a little bit messy, a little bit creative, and it's okay to be super ambitious. Let's get started. Hello, Meg. I am so
Hello.
excited to have you here today. I have just loved connecting with you. I know our mutual friend Joey introduced us, and I have told everyone a little bit about you, but I want you to give us the more fun intro as like who you are and how you help people.
Oh, the more fun intro, the bit where I'm like always at my desk with a gin and tonic, although I don't have one in front of me right now, but usually I do. So for those of you who are listening in, firstly, hello, my name is Meg, and probably from the accent, you can tell I am an Australian. A mum of three, stranded in the Netherlands, although we are just about to move back to Australia after 3 years. So I am super excited about that. And I work mostly in the Kajabi space. I've been working with the Kajabi platform for a few years, coaching people on how to use Kajabi, which if you don't know what Kajabi is, it's a great place to host online courses, building Kajabi templates and training Kajabi specialists and like all the things Kajabi. And then most recently, I decided what we all needed in the online space was a really cool online platform where everyone could find great collaborations. And so I went and launched a new business, which of course I thought was not going to be a massive undertaking. And now it's like having two full-time businesses. But that is Collaboration Station, which is kind of completely separate, but somewhat connected.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You guys have done such a good job with that community, though. So I'm really excited to dive in. And a funny story, I don't know why I want to share this, but my husband changed his like navigation voice to like an Australian accent. And it's like a
Why
female
wouldn't you?
Australian accent. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why'd you do this? And he's like, I don't know. I just like it. I'm like, well, do we need to get you an Australian lady? So
I'm
funny. Oh my
probably,
gosh.
I'm a little biased, but I do think the Australian accent's a good one, when you compare it to some of the others out there.
It really is. It really is. And it's recognizable. Like it's always like, oh, like every time I hear an Australian accent, I'm like, it's like my friend Scylla. I just think about my friend Scylla. I love it. Oh my gosh, like little nostalgic. So I'm so glad you're here with us. I know with the time zone change, you're always stuck working like really weird hours.
Um,
So Kajabi and communities. And everyone's always asking me about Facebook versus off Facebook. And I know Kajabi has their own community feature.
mm.
Before we dive in though, like how did you get started in Kajabi? Like how did that even become a thing?
Oh, well, once upon a time, back in 2018, I'd just come out of this like failed startup business and I was about $100,000 in debt and had to go back to this horrible corporate job that I hated. And I was 3 months pregnant, thinking, how am I going to grow a business while I am on maternity leave so that I do not have to go back to this horrible corporate job?
Mm.
And somebody said, wow, have you thought about like creating an online business? And I was like, I don't know anything about that. And they sent me off in the direction of James Wedmore and his free training series that was out at the time. And I binge watched it because it was like in the last available couple of days. And within the space of a week, I decided I was launching an online business and I was going to have an online course because everyone else was doing it. And this was my ticket out of corporate. And so I went and threw myself into business by design. But of course, I had no idea what I was actually going to create a course on. And I was getting like nowhere fast with that idea. And thankfully, I took on a business coach who just basically told me to park the online course idea and said, look, what skills do you have that you could monetize? Like, what could you be doing for people as a service or maybe one-on-one coaching? And I was like, well, James Wedmore told me to go and get this Kajabi thing. And I'm like, not half bad at it. And he said, great, offer that. And so I did, and people wanted it. And before I knew it, I'd built this whole business around a software tool. And then I eventually did launch an online course, which was all around how to use Kajabi. And it's just taken over my life, Liz.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh. Okay. I never really like knew that was how the pieces fit together, that James was actually first. You were like, I just want to create a course, but I don't know what I want it to be about. So you got into Kajabi. I know he recommends it. I love Kajabi. And you just got really good at it. I never got good at Kajabi.
Well, that's because you didn't join my coaching program, Liz, but there's still time.
Oh my gosh, so crazy. I love that. So have you always been like kind of good at tech and like a natural at tech?
I wouldn't really call myself a natural at tech. Like I'm pretty good at like figuring things out.
Yeah.
I can read an instruction manual and figure stuff out if I have to. And I think, in this kind of line of work, it's not enough to just know Kajabi. Like you have to be able to figure out deadline funnel and Zapier and Google Docs and like all the things that just sort of feed into having an online business. And I think, if you're thinking about becoming a Kajabi specialist, we always say to our students, like, you need a degree of technical acumen, like you got to be able to grasp things quickly in this line of work.
Yeah, that's so true. You have to at least be able to be a figure it outer person.
Figure it out, and I think if you're going to do a really good job of it too, like you've got to be more than just the technical. You've got to be the strategy and the technical, because most people coming to us, they haven't done a business by design or a digital course academy. They just know they want to create an online course and they got no idea how to go about that or the strategy to launch it.
That's so true. That's so true. And I love Kajabi from the user side of things. I actually didn't love it on my side as like the business owner, but every time I purchase a course in Kajabi, like it just feels like home. It's so easy to navigate. Like I love the user experience of it so much. Okay, so absolutely. I know Kajabi like launched their communities and some people are using it, and you guys use it for Collaboration Station and Facebook, right? Tell us a little bit about like the community aspect of Kajabi and how it's benefited yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's quite new. It came out in the last, I think I'm right in saying 12 months. It's amazing how fast time flies. Maybe it was like longer than that, but I'm going to say the last 12 months. And, it's their answer to a Facebook group and the ability to be able to have inside of the Kajabi platform for your members, somewhere for them to hang out, and there's circles and you have little discussions going, and you can do live rooms where you don't need a Zoom, a subscription, because you can just run your live inside of your group. So that part of it, is great. You kind of think, oh, well, I can get rid of my Zoom subscription and I can like do all these things. The actual layout of it is super cool. I like how it's very structured and organized, and you can put in your events and then it automatically emails your members the reminders for those events, so there's lots of good things to it. But what we found, and I'm sure this just comes as like no surprise to you, Liz, is that it is so hard to get people off of Facebook. There is like a diehard group, a small number of people who are like, I hate Facebook groups. And yes, they're in the community chatting to each other. So the same people always turn up inside our Kajabi community. But then, you've got the bigger percentage, of which I am one, which just never logs into that Kajabi community because we want to be on Facebook, and that's just where we are every day. And so we ended up reopening our pop-up Facebook group so that we would have two places. We've got the community for, member only discussions, and we think of it as like deep dives that happen inside of the Kajabi community. And then we've got the Facebook group, which is for paying members and also free members. So it's like a whole mix of people we've got in there. And we think of that one as like the nightclub. Like that's where the party happens before you go and deep dive into like second base, which might be over in the member community.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's a smart way to set it up though. Cause I mean, Facebook groups can kind of be like the wild, wild west, but people ask me all the time of like, oh, like I really want to get a community off of Facebook. And I'm like, then do it. But I'm just letting you know, they all have the same problem, that it's just really hard to get people to engage in the app off of Facebook. But that doesn't mean that it's not necessary. I think where I really see it thriving is exactly the way you set it up, that there is a free Facebook community and then there's a paid offline, off Facebook kind of members hub almost, right? And you can still have both, like you can still have a paid Facebook community. But I think when people are paying for something, it naturally makes sense to kind of elevate and make more intimate that space. But yeah, it's really hard because people have to open a whole nother like platform.
Yeah. That's it, and we want them to get the most out of the platform and actually be connecting with each other, like that's how the collaborations happen. So, as much as we love the Kajabi community from an admin perspective and how nicely organized and structured it is, the amount of work that our community manager, Courtney, has put into setting it up, like it would just break our heart to like not have it anymore. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, well, what do our members need and where are they going to get the most value? And if that is just a Facebook group, then they can have a Facebook group.
Right. Then that's what it is. And it's all about the reminders too. I mean, reminding them via like email that something's going on today. I mean, it's never going to be perfect. It's all just like top of mind and reminders and scheduling and all the things. Like all that stuff is the same in any community you go to. Like you got to remind people and then you got to tell them that the replay is available or whatever it is. I mean, it's all the same.
Absolutely. 100% agree. And, it adds this whole nother layer of complexity to it, that our Facebook group is made up of free, like, well, non-members and members, because then it's like, how do you police this? Like, how do you say, well, no links and no talking about this and that, and here are the rules, and anything that goes beyond this has to happen inside of the paid member only community, so this whole just other layer of complexity and admin that comes with having a group of non-members and members in a Facebook group.
I've seen it done though. And I think where it can really work well is where you kind of showcase what's happening in the Kajabi community in the free group, so that people can see like why they should invest for like the next level or the next phase, or like, happy students that are getting their dream collaboration because of the space. I think showcasing, what people are really getting out of it. I've definitely seen Facebook groups that don't have a paid one at all. It's free. And then they sell their course or their membership. And, it's just like the students end up becoming like the biggest advocates inside that free group. So I've seen it done both ways for sure.
There is a lot of potential. We just need to spend more time with this lady I know called Liz, and Liz is going to like give us all her tips and tricks and secrets. And before we know it, our Facebook group will be doing what we need it to do.
Oh my gosh. It is a beast, right? It's all an experiment, and we just get to be the scientist of the experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. God. I have a mug that says that. Somebody sent it to me in the post, one of my students, because they hear me say it so often. It just says, it's all an experiment.
It is. And no, it's just normalize failure, right? It's not failure, it's an experiment. Make me stop thinking. It's so true though, right?
I love it. You got to be addicted to this stuff. Otherwise you'd just give up, wouldn't you? But it's like, well, I love the experiment, and seeing what works and tweaking it and trying something different.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, I know you're kind of balancing both businesses now. Like, tell me a little bit about how you are surviving, because we talk a lot about work-life balance on this podcast, and we all know it's not perfect. So tell us a little bit about how you're managing both. Is it overwhelming? Do you feel like you've got a handle on it?
I've got a handle on it only because I have this amazing community manager, Courtney, who basically just said, do I have like free reign to just like run with this and do whatever I want? And I was like, yep. So it's up to you now, like you just run with it, Courtney. Whatever you need, you just let me know. Because, when I had this idea, I was like, well, is it going to be a tool? Like how hard could it be to set up a collaboration platform where everybody gets a profile and they log in and they search for, what they're looking for and they connect with each other. And I wasn't even thinking it was going to have a community. I was like, oh, this isn't going to need like a Facebook group. Like everyone's just going to connect one-on-one through the platform. And of course, I've just crazily underestimated how much support they were going to need once they were signed up on this platform, or how important the community side of it was going to be, and that really has become the most important part of the platform. No one wants to collaborate with someone that they just find on the directory. Like they want to know them first and chat with them in mixes and do all those things. So it just became like bigger than Ben-Hur. And thankfully, Courtney at the time was one of my students on the Kajabi side of my business. And her specialty is relationships. And, she'd been running a membership for like married couples, I think, like actual relationship type coaching. And she's so passionate about it that I just said, hey, do you reckon turn your expertise to community management over inside of Collaboration Station? And she just was so excited at that idea, and she has just completely run with it. And I'm so happy. Like Courtney, if you're listening, like never quit.
Oh my God, she is amazing. That was I remember you telling me about your community manager, and then when I joined Collaboration Station, I was like, she is amazing.
Yeah. I know. So, I just always tell her, like, you can never leave. Like, you are with Collaboration Station forever. But yes, without her, it would be totally overwhelming. I do feel like I've sort of got 3 full-time businesses happening right now. And also with the move back to Australia next year and time zones becoming even more problematic, I'm really looking at my business model now going, okay, which things can I cut off? Because, it's just impossible to keep doing everything. Like I don't want to be on Zoom calls at 10 o'clock at night, so just certain parts of my business will just have to go. And I'm sure that will actually be a good thing, a good opportunity to make a fresh start and a bit of a pivot and do the things that I really enjoy.
I just told my friend that the other day. I said, it's time that I do an audit of what I need to let go of. Like we're always asking, what do we need to take on? What do we need to do more of? What does my business need? But we don't ask enough of like, what can I let go of? And that's such an important thing to audit. We should be auditing that like every 6 months or every year, whether it's a task, whether it's something to do with our schedule. I mean, we just need to always look at what an offer that's not really getting the results we want. I mean, there was a time where I just dropped a ton of offers and it was so freeing. Like they weren't making a ton of money anyway. So like, why keep trying when I can just focus on this thing over here that is monetizing?
I know. One of my biggest like revenue streams this year has been a 12-month funnel club membership where we've covered like a different funnel strategy every month, which again, I completely underestimated how much work it would be to put together a different funnel strategy every month with template pages and email templates and calculators and like all the things. So every month they get like a funnel kit to build this funnel, which just takes so much time. And everyone in that funnel club, like we're just coming to the end of year 1, it's set for automatic renewal. And I just thought, no, cannot. And it was probably about $40,000 of money that I just went, nope. I just sent the email out this week and said, guys, there is no renewals. I am not doing this, doing this again next year. And I just went into Thrivecart, canceled everybody's subscriptions because I was like, no, it doesn't serve me anymore. We are not doing this for a second year.
Good for you. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so important. It's funny though, because right before you got to the part where you're like, I canceled it. I'm like, ooh, could you bring in a funnel expert every month instead? Like, but you'd still have to pay them. So it's like, what would be the ROI there?
Yeah. But it hasn't been for nothing. All those resources I created this year are now going into standalone funnel kits where people could just buy just that funnel with the training and the resources. Everything's recorded and they can just DIY it. And they don't need that, weekly office hours where I'm like, how am I going to do that from Australia? And it also drives me totally crazy as a coach, which I'm sure you can relate to, when not many students actually turn up for those live calls and you're putting all this time aside, and especially if it's not going to be at even a convenient time of day to start with. I'm like, no,
oh my
that part has to go.
Yeah, I had a membership for a while and I stopped doing any meetings that were not convenient for me because, I don't like, if I just show up the same time every week or every month and like whoever shows up, like it's built into my convenient schedule, that's totally different than like trying to accommodate someone that's like, well, I have a day job, so I can't be on till 5:30. Okay, great. I'll offer meetings at 5:30. And then like, nobody like that's totally different, right? So it's like we have to
Yeah.
really be in our own kind of creative power around our schedule.
Yeah. I'm toying with the idea of offering Voxer coaching next year,
Yes.
and just where it is really on your schedule and people can send you a Voxer voicemail or a little text at whatever time they want. And you can reply at whatever time you want. Sit down over your morning coffee and get all your replies out of the way. So, I'm quite new to the world of Voxer, but I'm coming around to this concept. I think it is a pretty nifty way of doing things.
Oh, Voxer's amazing. And it's like you said, it's asynchronous. I'm incorporating it into my newest program. I haven't like unleashed it yet because I'm trying to figure out the boundaries that I want to implement, if any.
Mm.
But yeah, I am a huge fan of Voxer. The only thing
Mm.
that I'm going to make sure that I communicate, just to see if this sparks an idea for you too, is like really managing the expectations of like when a question is best suited on Voxer versus like if you have the community element like in the community, because it could help more people, right? So
Mm.
I know there's going to
Mhm.
be this part of it where someone's going to Vox me and I'm going to say this is a really good question, so I'm going to answer it in the Facebook group because I want to help the most people possible.
Mm.
But I also really understand the importance of like my student is on a walk or they're in the car and this like question like pops up and I don't want them having to like type while they're moving. It's so nice to be able to talk and move. So,
Mm.
there's the balance of both, but I do love Voxer and I think there's so much value to it. My friend is in a mastermind right now, like a pretty legit like $20,000 mastermind, and she has unlimited Voxer access to the
Oh,
coach,
I've got
like the
that too. She's not with
facilitator.
Julie, is she? Julie Channel?
No, she's not with
Oh.
Julie. But like, yeah, I mean, she's like, I can't get over the value that I'm getting because she's
Mm.
responding to these messages. So I do think there's a lot to be said for that. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
boundaries are on us, right? Like just don't check it. Like just don't check it. Like I have kind of specific times of day that I'm really on Voxer. So it's like just maintaining that and not being like, oh Meg, oh I gotta go. I got Vox messages, right? Like that's that's not how it goes.
Absolutely. The boundaries is such an important one. Like with that mastermind that I'm in, we do have unlimited Boxer communication. And
Yeah.
I always think I completely underutilize it. For the amount of money that it costs to be in that program, I should be like sending her a Boxer like every single day. But I kind of only do it like once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks because I figure most stuff out by myself, or I just decide which way I'm going to go without actually asking somebody's opinion.
Yes.
But every now and again, I'm like, oh, I'm completely stuck. I'm going to get some feedback and some ideas on this. And she's done a really good job of putting boundaries in place. Where I think the rules are something like voicemails can't be over 10 minutes. And if you really want her to look at something like audit a sales page or something like that, it's got to be in by Sunday, and then she reviews it on like the Monday morning or something, and you can send in one thing for audit a week. So
Yes.
that you don't completely fill up her box with like a million gazillion things to do. But I look at how she's run it and I just think, that's brilliant. Like
Yeah.
everybody gets that channel with her. And I'm sure most people are like me and probably hardly ever reach out.
Yeah. I mean, I think the majority of people are not going to take advantage of it, right? And a lot of that is
Yeah.
just law of attraction. Like, I never really attract students with boundary issues. And I don't know if that's because
Mhm.
I'm just really good at standing in my boundaries or because I just
Mhm.
like law of attraction, right? Like, I attract
Mhm.
people that are like me and I don't overstep boundaries.
Yeah,
But they're
absolutely.
out
Yeah, I
there.
like
I
that.
know they're out there because I have like hear
Yeah.
plenty of stories.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely something to explore next year.
Yeah, I am a huge fan. Okay, so there was something else that crossed my mind when we were talking about how like Courtney is so great at this community management because she was a relationship coach in the past. And I just had like a peer kind of experience something with some unhappy clients, and we were like, what has changed? Like what has changed in this client experience? And we were like, oh my gosh, the person that used to be in this role was like a psychology like therapist experienced
Oh.
person, And we
Mm-hmm.
realized that we had put more of a like formal, like, person without that emotional intelligence training in that role.
Mm.
And it was really, really cool lesson of like anything that has like customer experience or like community service, like anybody that's in our companies that's outward facing, that's a really good like checkbox to look for. Now that you said that about, it's like all my little dots are connecting of like, do they have any training in like the emotional intelligence side of things to be able to read the room? Like, what a beautiful skill, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And she's so good at it. And from here, I can see her sort of, she's already starting to pick up more work now, helping people with affiliate programs, which is, it's just more relationship management, helping people to manage their affiliates. I see so much potential for what she does because she comes from that background.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm not saying everyone needs to go out and do that. Like if you're not a people person, that's okay. Right? But there are some of us that like I just live and breathe like human beings and people and like I get it. I love the Courtneys of the world.
Oh, you should have her on next. We should tell you all about, well, her, she'd talk your ear off about all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So good. Well, so yeah, I know you said there might be some pivots coming. Is there any like big projects or anything that you want to share with us that you're working on? Yeah.
I think Collaboration Station is always a pivot. It's like we're not a pivot, but an evolution,
Mm,
because it is a new platform and we made assumptions at the beginning that people were going to want various things inside of a collaboration platform. And we made assumptions that everyone would see the value in collaboration. And I think, people like the idea of collaboration, but if they've never done it before or experienced the benefit of it, it's a pretty difficult concept to sell.
yeah.
And the people who get onto the platform, they just don't have time really. A lot of them are just so time poor because they're solopreneurs, they're wearing all the hats. They love the idea, but then to actually spend time having coffee chats and talking collaboration with people and coming up with, joint ideas is a time consuming task. So for us, our new ideal is, let me run this past you and you can tell me, and all your listeners can tell me too if this is a good idea. But we think what the platform needs to evolve to be, still have all the stuff it's got right now, but more of a collaboration management / affiliate management platform, where
Mm,
if you're new to collaboration, then our role is to sort of manage your getting on virtual summits and your applications to bundles and curating who you should be talking to and, spoon feeding you basically until you
yes,
go off and have
yes.
the success you're meant to have. And then once you reach a certain point, you're like, I'm ready for affiliates, managing your affiliate program and, making sure that they've got all the resources they need and that they're reminded and, there's the promotional calendar in place and they've got all the swipe graphics and, all the things they need to be able to take their business to the next level. But, for me, I sort of think, I thought the directory was going to be the biggest part of it. Now I'm like, actually, that's like way down the list of priorities. What people need is like help actually making this stuff happen.
Yes. No, I think that's a beautiful idea. And it's almost like PR, but instead of like media outlets, it's like you're just facilitating this entrepreneur to entrepreneur connection. And that's where
Yeah.
my best connections are made is when somebody else is doing the introducing. So I think
Mm.
like, Courtney could be onboarding these members and then making like actual introductions to other members like, oh,
Mm.
Sarah, you should meet Gracie, like you guys have this in common, and then boom, they're gonna allow collaborate. But like because it was introduction, there's a little bit different of a way that like the peer-to-peer relationship happens, right? Like
Mm.
you and I were introduced that way, like Joey introduced us, so it wasn't like, oh my God, Liz is going to buy Meg's stuff or Meg is going to buy Liz's stuff. It was like, you two are both kind of awesome. You're both in BBD. Like, you should connect. And we're like, okay. Right. And then it ends
I
up
agree.
in I get to go in your collaboration station, and speak, and you're on the podcast. And like, boom,
Yeah.
look at that. We just did a
I
collaboration.
know. Yeah. And that is something that we just introduced. It's what we call curated collabs. So people who are
Yeah.
joining us on an annual membership get 3 months of curated collabs so that we can, basically matchmake them with the people on the platform where we're like, you need to be talking to Liz. And, with your skill set, you should be thinking about, a joint webinar with this person, and your two
Yes.
programs fit well together as a bundle, and, helping people to see the bigger picture.
Yeah, no, I think that's so good and so magical. And like, unfortunately, the hand holding is a thing. Like, that's what we need. But I find like when I get the cold pitches, not in Collaboration Station, but like on Instagram or in my email, it's like I'm always kind of questioning it a little bit more and feeling like I need to go do my research and find out, like, do our core values align? Are they a legit business? Like, why do they want to talk to me? Like, if I jump on a coffee chat for 30 minutes and like nothing comes of it, then I've wasted 30 minutes of my time and I get grumpy. Like, so it's like there's no trust built there. So I tend to say no to most of those that come across my desk. But when it's facilitated by a third party, that trust is like so instant, right? So I think I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, we just, we're iterating. You've got to watch the space 12 months from now. And we'll be like, you remember when we spoke back in, what month are we in? October? Look at us
now. Yeah. You'll get there. I mean, you guys are doing the right thing because you're being a scientist and figuring it out. And online communities are so important and they're not going anywhere. I think we can constantly work on what makes our community stand out, what makes our community unique, like what is the mission and the purpose and the value, but the actual like concept of online communities, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and even though I thought we didn't really need it, it's actually the most enjoyable part. When you put it back in, it's like, oh, actually, that's what makes the whole project as rewarding as it is the community side. So I probably never again launch another product without a community.
I know.
I've learned my lesson.
But it doesn't always have to be a lot of work. Sometimes they take on a life of their own and you're like, look at the members just hanging out, like sometimes that does happen.
Yeah. I mean, even the Kajabi Facebook group, you would think that, the main draw card for Kajabi is the platform. But I was on an interview this morning and someone said, what's your favorite feature? And I was like, it's the community. Like, there's a million platforms out there that can do what Kajabi can do, but I've never found a support structure and community like theirs that is so helpful and motivating and inspiring, and just the customer service is great. Like, it's the whole community element to that tech platform that I think makes it as amazing as it is.
Isn't that awesome? And I know there's a couple platforms out there like that where I'm like, I don't like, even Social Curator. I'm like, I don't really use Social Curator for like its features, but I do love like the members, and every now and then like I get introduced to somebody or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I pay my $30 a month just for my little like, community.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm preaching to the converted, but they're definitely undervalued a lot of times, and they are so important. But yeah, we've learned a lot just listening to you, Liz, and picking up tips and tricks from you where we can. So we appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. I'm so glad. Well, I also love in-person events, and I can't wait to see you in December. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. It's my last big trip for this year before I move back to Australia and never get to go on another another work trip ever again.
Sure, do you have like a local like community of entrepreneurs in Australia that you'll be able to lean on?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few Aussies using Kajabi too, but they're mostly East Coast and I am West Coast. So I'll still manage to get away for the odd cool conference over in the States, but it's definitely going to be a much bigger undertaking than a quick trip over from Europe like I do now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, anything else you want to share? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, you should definitely, seeing as you're all about community and collaboration, anyone listening here should definitely just go and have a look at the directory. It's called collaborationstation.directory, funnily enough. Or if you would like, you can join us in our free Facebook group where Liz also hangs out, and it's called Abra Collabra. So
I love that name so much. Oh my gosh.
Put it into Facebook, it's bound to come up. I should trademark that with Joey before someone else takes it.
Abra Collabra. You really should, because it's very cute. I'm like, that could have some really fun marketing.
Oh, someone's already got the domain, of course, and not using it. Most irritating thing. They take all the good domains and then they don't do anything with it.
Oh my gosh. We'll trademark it and then see if you can buy the domain or take over the domain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll sell them. Sometimes you can just reach out and say, hey, I noticed you're not using this. you know?
Maybe they want lots of money for it.
They are. They probably
Oh.
do. Oh my gosh. Well, it was so nice chatting with you today. I just feel like we've always been old friends, even though we just met. And you're the best. And I'll see you in December. And I'll put all the good stuff in the show notes for Collaboration Station and for your Kajabi and all that good stuff so people can find you.
Thanks, Liz. It was awesome catching up with you, and I will see you in a few weeks.
Yay. Sounds good. All right, you guys, this is episode 134. So we're going to put all the links in the show notes for you, including how you can get that free trial to the Collaboration Station. That is at elizabethhenson.co/E134. We're going to make sure all the show notes are there for you. And don't forget that I am offering free marketing power calls for the rest of 2023. This is an opportunity to get on a call with me for 30 minutes to really dive into your business and the community-based marketing potential that you might not be tapping into just yet, and really just give you a roadmap and talk about different ways that we can work together and collaborate and all of that good stuff. So I would love to meet you. That link will be in the show notes as well. You can grab a spot while they're available. And if you are local to Hampton Roads, there's an opportunity to sign up for free meetups. And we are putting together a very special in-person event for 2024. And you can also get on the list to be first to know about that. There's a lot of fun things happening as we wrap up 2023. I am just so excited to dive into the new year. I don't know if anybody else gets excited about that too. But don't forget to check out the show notes at elizabethhenson.co/E134 to get all of Meg's links. Let her know you loved this episode and leave us a review, share it with a friend. You know the drill. We appreciate you guys so much. We love creating a space just for the messy, creative entrepreneurs like you. All right, see you soon.